Those are two generations that are gone.
A local pastor speaks out after a 19-year-old pregnant woman is killed over the weekend. What he says the community needs to do to make sure justice is served.
What the families from Meade Village are saying is, why wasn't this done in September? We're now in December.
Fox 45 News Project Baltimore holds Anne Arundel County schools accountable for student transportation failures. A divide between city leaders. Fox 45 News presses City Council President Nick Mosby on the letter he sent to the mayor after the pension bill was vetoed.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 10.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala.
And I'm Kai Jackson. Another grim reminder that the city's deadly violence can touch anyone. Sadly, as a 19-year-old pregnant woman is gunned down in Northeast Baltimore.
A mother to be lost, a young mother to be lost, and a child. Those are two generations.
Fox 45's Vincent Hill spoke with a pastor in the community about this tragic loss.
Vincent joins us live right now with a closer look at this shocking crime and the search for a suspect. Vincent.
Yeah, Kai and Mary, to some, Myra may just be another number, but one local faith leader says she was the start of a future taken away too soon.
Crime is something that the Bible teaches against, right? It is an affront and is a sin.
Robert Turner is the pastor of the Empowerment Temple in Baltimore.
And it's something that we should try to stop, cease, and make sure it and the consequences of it are not passed down to our children.
But crime isn't stopping, and its latest victim, 19-year-old Jamira Burrell, and tragically, her unborn child. Turner says that will have a lasting effect for years to come.
Those are two generations that are gone. Not to mention the fact that the mother could have had another child, and the baby, once she grew up, he or she grew up, could have a child. So you lost potentially three generations.
Turner says it's up to the community to make sure justice is served for Jamira.
Hey, if we see somebody about to shoot somebody, we need to say something.
And that's exactly what Baltimore police hopes the public will do.
The sudden violent death of a 19-year-old pregnant woman, your mind automatically goes to the possibility of intimate partner violence.
Former Baltimore Police Deputy Commissioner Jason Johnson also led an investigation unit.
The police department doesn't have the luxury of focusing only on that. They're going to have to consider other possibilities. Could it be a robbery? Could it be some other random act of violence?
Johnson says the investigation won't be easy, but he believes the person or persons responsible will be caught.
Knocking on doors, trying to talk to people that knew this young lady, family, friends, searching for electronic evidence in terms of communications that she may have had.
Meanwhile, Reverend Turner says he has a theory on what could reduce violence in Baltimore.
Seeing people as God sees them and not as we may sometimes want to see them.
Suspect or suspects have been identified, or a motive. Homicide investigators are asking anyone with information to call Baltimore police. For now, we're live in Baltimore. Vincent Hill, Fox 45 News.
And thank you. Well, this is the second time this year a pregnant woman has been shot and killed in Baltimore. Back in May, a 38-year-old mother was killed in a drive-by shooting in East Baltimore. Doctors were able to deliver her baby. At the time, Mayor Brandon Scott was emotional talking about that incident.
And to be quite honest and frank, I don't really give a what the conflict was.
Those two women are among more than 300 people killed in Baltimore this year. Victims include children, mothers, and fathers. Fox 45 News has told some of their stories. You can find all of our reporting on the city's deadly violence on our website, foxbaltimore.com.
Baltimore City's elected leaders will get a raise on January 1st. That's because of city legislation saying if at least one city union or employee group receives a pay increase, all elected officials are entitled to a 2.5% pay raise as well. Now, because the union representing salaried city employees got a raise this summer, salaries will be adjusted. According to the Board of Estimates agenda, the City Council President, Comptroller, and all City Council members are benefiting from the raise. Notably, the raise will push Mayor Brandon Scott's salary above $200,000 a year. Some experts we spoke with take issue with the raise, arguing voters should have a say.
The U.S. Constitution actually prohibits the Congress from raising its own pay until there's an election. And in fact, the people of Baltimore deserve the opportunity to have a say on Brandon Scott and Nick Mosby's performance before they raise their own pay. Everybody leading the city of Baltimore should be hanging their heads in shame, not cashing paychecks for failing to perform. In a pay-for-performance system, the mayor and the city solicitor and everyone else getting a pay raise would be fired, not given a pay bump.
Along with Congress, the Maryland General Assembly also has to face the voters when it comes to pay raises. In the last legislative session, the General Assembly Compensation Commission voted to raise state lawmakers' salaries in the next term. According to the state constitution, lawmakers can't give themselves raises in their current term. They have to wait for the next term. We'd like to know what you think. Do city leaders deserve a raise? It's early, but so far, 100% of those who voted say no. Head to foxbaltimore.com/vote to weigh in.
While city council members will be getting a raise, they will not see any changes to their pension plan. Mayor Scott vetoed a bill that would have reduced the number of years they needed to serve to earn a lifetime pension. Fox 45 News questioning City Council President Nick Mosby about it today after the first council meeting since the veto. Our team coverage begins with Keith Daniels and the City Council President's next moves when it comes to the pension plan. Keith?
Well, Mary, for the most part, it seems that controversial pension bill could be officially done. But again, that depends on the next move by the City Council President. And tonight, we pressed him for answers.
Mr. Clerk, if you could please read the roll.
At Baltimore City Hall, the City Council's first meeting since Mayor Brandon Scott's veto on the controversial pension bill. The mayor's communication on the agenda, but no lengthy discussion on the matter. But after the meeting, we questioned the bill's sponsor, Council President Nick Mosby, on the mayor's move and whether he'd push for an override vote.
I didn't whip the vote, nor am I going to whip a veto. I think the mayor has spoken. He wants to keep it not balanced. Some council members have spoken that there's a conflict of interest, and we're going to move forward with it.
Mosby sent his response to the veto in a letter to the mayor today with several points, including saying he disagreed with the ethics board's concerns about the legislation. Mosby says reducing the time required for council members to receive a lifetime pension is about equity, given the term limits from Question K. Mosby also continued to point fingers about that charter amendment, once again addressing Fox 45 owners' financial support for Question K. You did not mention that it was a ballot question overwhelmingly supported by more than 70% of the public. Why not mention that part?
No, I said the voters voted for it. I just talked about the amount of money that your news media put into it and the level of coverage.
In the letter, Mosby also draws attention to a seemingly divide in city government, saying to the mayor, quote, "We missed a chance once again to work together to resolve your concerns through the legislative process. Residents are truly tired of the disconnection of city government and officials." Is there a divide in city government that you're referring to?
There's no divide.
Well, explain what you meant.
It's just a statement. It's pretty straightforward. Like, we had a chance to talk before the decision was made. It's the council. It was the mayor's prerogative, so it's fine with me. But there is no discord. There's no concern.
Well, 10 votes are needed for the council to override that veto. The mayor said the votes don't appear to be there. The council approved the bill by a vote of 8-5, with 2 members abstaining. We're live tonight. Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
Keith, thank you. The City Council moved quickly on the pension bill. It took about 3 weeks from when Council President Mosby introduced it to its final passage. For comparison, a dirt bike ordinance took about 6 weeks to make it this far. A bill targeting gun violence in 2020 took nearly 3 months to get a final vote.
Well, the pension veto could have a big impact on the City Council President's political future. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost continues our team coverage.
The veto from the mayor, just the latest political blow for City Council President Nick Mosby. And now other council members may be seizing on what political experts are saying is an opportunity because of a weakened leader, potentially setting up a showdown for voters to decide who they want to see as their next City Council president. Nick Mosby's no stranger to politicking, working in City Hall as a councilman before a failed mayoral run in 2016, then going on to Annapolis as a state delegate.
So, Mr. President, Please raise your right hand and repeat after me.
And in 2020, Mosby elected as city council president. From expanding his office on the taxpayers' dime to breaking fire codes with contentious housing council hearings.
Minister Marks.
Now a rare mayoral veto on Mosby's pension plan.
I think what you're seeing is people starting to pick up sides.
Some city council members lining up behind Mosby while others are lining up to take jabs.
They see a weakened leader, and a weakened leader is like a wounded animal, and it is definitely subject to prey. I think there's a lot of different teams. There's a team Mosby, there's a team Brandon, there's also even maybe a team Cohen.
Councilman Zeke Cohen not afraid of pushing back on the council president, especially during an affordable housing hearing.
That's an outrageous claim. That's an
Councilman Cohen, we've gone over that. I think I did a good job of controlling the chamber to go back and forth.
I feel on behalf of my colleague and my mayor that I'm going to need to express my concern about it.
Mr. President, I did that. Now, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do.
That same one sparking an inspector general report. Political analyst John Dede says Cohen is seizing a political moment that could turn into momentum.
I think he wants to run for city council president. I think he sees the opportunity.
The councilman from the 1st District has been a vocal critic of Mosby's pension plan that would have made it easier for part-time council members to earn lifetime benefits.
The idea that we would rush a really important piece of legislation that's going to have a long-term impact on the fiscal health of the city, to me, felt incredibly irresponsible.
Dede says the other 7 members who backed Mosby on the pension plan that was shot down by Mayor Brandon Scott now have a decision to make moving forward. Continue to back Mosby, challenge him, or look elsewhere.
If they feel that there's not a lot of long-term political support for Nick, they've got to think of their own future and their own survival. So, survival of the fittest.
Council President Mosby's support also hinges on what happens with his wife, City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby, inside a federal courtroom. Set for trial in March, Marilyn Mosby faces 2 perjury and 2 false mortgage application statement charges. And Nick Mosby could end up being called as a witness. In a March superseding indictment of Marilyn Mosby, federal prosecutors raising questions about Nick's potential involvement. According to the indictment, Marilyn Mosby, quote, falsely claimed that her husband had made her a gift of $5,000 to be transferred at closing to then be used for the Longboat Key vacation home. The indictment claims Nick Mosby wired $5,000 to an escrow agent, but at the time, prosecutors claim Nick Mosby didn't have $5,000 in his checking account, and instead, Marilyn Mosby gave Nick the money. Prosecutors say Nick then shuffled it around before sending it for the house.
If Marilyn Mosby's found guilty, that does nothing to help Nick's reputation. If that turns out worst case scenario for the Mosbys, people are going to be, looking at things saying, what kind of political opportunity is there?
As council president, Nick Mosby earns more than $131,700 annually. The pension divide could evolve into deeper breaks in the council, potentially leaving the council president with dwindling support, setting the stage for alliances among some members that emerge even more so as we get closer to the next election cycle. Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson will likely miss this Sunday's game against the Pittsburgh Steelers because of a knee injury suffered in yesterday's game.
I would say it's kind of week to week. It's going to be a weekly thing. So as the week goes on, we'll see for this week. It's probably less likely for this week, but it's not impossible.
For more on Jackson's injury and what it means for the team, download the Flock on Fox 45 podcast. It's available on Amazon, Apple, and Spotify.
Heading into the morning commute, we're tracking a round of showers that can impact some of your travels. Notice by 3 a.m., 4 a.m. should be okay, but by 5:30, 6 o'clock, there is some rain that could be moving in right through the heart of the morning commute and into lunchtime. So again, the windshield wipers may have to be on, and you may need some rain gear here 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. As temperatures stay in the 40s, I'll let you know when things could get more interesting winter weather-wise coming up in a couple of minutes.
Coming up on Fox 45 News at 10 o'clock tonight, Project Baltimore holds Anne Arundel County schools accountable for student transportation failures. What the school system says about children walking miles to school. What did we learn from the recent Twitter document dump? We take a closer look at the documents and what it reveals about Hunter Biden's business dealings. Also, coming up at 10:30, a Baltimore Department of Public Works whistleblower comes forward. Why this person says fewer collections is creating more work for tired crews.
Anne Arundel County Public Schools admitting it doesn't look safe. Fox 45 Project Baltimore report showed students walking to school along highways that don't have sidewalks.
That dangerous practice is due to a school bus driver shortage. As Project Baltimore's Chris Papps explains, the school system finally agreed to an interview, but it wasn't easy for us to get.
Project Baltimore went to the Anne Arundel County Public Schools Administration building to speak with Superintendent Dr. Mark Bedell.
My name is Chris Papps. I'm with Fox 45 News.
We wanted to speak with Dr. Bedell about a significant problem in his school system.
Somebody should be down shortly.
Okay.
I don't know who, but somebody will be down. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
For about 20 minutes, we waited in the lobby. We were then told the superintendent was in a conference.
You did tell me somebody was going to come down and talk with us.
So we continued to wait and wait.
Excuse me, sir.
Eventually, speaking with another security guard.
You guys can wait as long as you want.
Okay.
He's not available.
Okay.
I don't know what else to tell you.
Because at first we were told somebody's coming down.
After nearly 2 hours, someone did come down to speak with us, but it wasn't Dr. Bedell. Before we tell you what he said, here's why we were there.
You think if the school system cared, they would have fixed this problem?
Absolutely, a long time ago. A long time ago.
For the past few weeks, Project Baltimore has been telling the story of Unique Wiggins, a mother from Anne Arundel County. Her son, Zion, and other middle school students in Meade Village, 3 months into the school year, still do not have a school bus. Every day, they travel about 4.5 miles to MacArthur Middle School. Much of the trip walking along busy highways that have no sidewalks.
I'm like, there's no sidewalk. Like, are you serious?
After seeing Wiggins' story, Tanya Briggs, who owns a small transportation company, offered to drive the students of Meade Village to and from school every day for free until the school system can provide transportation.
It's sad. and ridiculous.
Thank you, Dr. Tobin.
Through all of this, Fox 45 has been trying to speak with Dr. Bedell. Despite promising on the district's website to make himself available to the media, Dr. Bedell has refused to interview with Project Baltimore. That is why we went to district headquarters to speak with him. But after waiting 2 hours, it was district spokesman Bob Mosier who sat down with us.
I think we're all frustrated. We certainly understand the parent frustration.
Mosier told us the school system is working as fast as it can to get buses for Mead Village and the other 2,600 county students who don't have one. But he said there are not enough drivers available with a CDL, commercial driver's license, which is why he said the school board in mid-November passed an emergency contract to hire vans where drivers don't need a CDL to transport students with disabilities. That, he said, would free up buses for other students.
I think what the families from Mead Village are saying is, why wasn't this done in September?
Yeah,
We're now in December.
And I get it, and as I said, right? I mean, some may judge that was too slow, and that's, that's certainly something that, the speed with which it happened is the speed with which it happened.
Over the summer, Mosier said the school system knew it was low on bus drivers. They tried to work with what they had. But since August, he says many more drivers have left for a variety of reasons. As the school year progressed, the problem of transporting students wasn't getting better.
Motion passes 8-0.
So the board passed the emergency contract to hire vans. Mosier said he hoped in a week or two, students at Mead Village will have a bus.
Did Anne Arundel County schools know that students were walking on that road without sidewalks?
I didn't know personally until you and I had that very first conversation. I couldn't tell you whether the school knew. I don't know.
I mean, does it seem safe?
Does it seem safe to have students walk on Route 175? No. No. I mean, that's not something we want to have happen.
It's been happening for 3 months.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
Well, new tonight, two-time Emmy-winning actress Kirstie Alley has died. Her children announced her death on social media tonight, saying their mother died after a short battle with cancer. Alley starred in the sitcom Cheers, of course, and the hit movie Look Who's Talking. She was only 71 years old.
The recent Twitter document dump is shedding light on Hunter Biden's business dealings and his father, Joe Biden's involvement. What we're learning tonight.
And an unsettled work week developing for us, and even some rain that could be something else by the end of the week into the weekend. Now, mind you, this is the warmer, wetter GFS Future Scan computer model solution. Looking at rain on Saturday into Sunday, but I'll show you the colder, maybe snowier solution that could be headed our way on the models. That's up in my Weather Authority forecast.
Taking a look now at the Fox box.
On the top left, the state of Georgia is getting ready for tomorrow's runoff election. Incumbent Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock is facing Republican challenger Herschel Walker.
Top right, Arizona certified the results of the 2022 midterm elections today. It is expected to prompt lawsuits from some GOP officials who have taken issue with ballot printers in Maricopa County.
In the bottom left, a push to give more teenagers the right to vote is gaining steam in some regions. Boston City Council just voted to lower the minimum age to participate in local elections to 16.
And bottom right, former President Trump is losing steam following the midterm elections. According to a new Marquette Law School poll, Trump's unfavorable rating now stands at 67%. Well, what does the latest Twitter document dump tell us about Hunter Biden's business deals and what Joe Biden knew?
Sinclair national correspondent Kayla Gaskins takes a closer look.
Newly released internal conversations at Twitter reveal the social media platform temporarily quieted the potentially politically damaging Hunter Biden laptop story just weeks before his father won the presidency. The suppressed New York Post article from October of 2020 disclosed emails on Hunter's laptop allegedly connecting Joe Biden to his son's international business deals taking place while Biden was vice president.
The question is, why was he getting that money? And he was getting the money because of who his father was. So his father plays a role, either directly or indirectly, in this drama. And that's why I think it's so important to investigate it.
In a string of tweets now dubbed the Twitter Files, journalist Matt Taibbi shows the company decided to suppress the story because it believed it included hacked materials, but without any evidence of such hacking. Taibbi tweeting, quote, Twitter took extraordinary steps to suppress the story, removing links and posting warnings that it may be unsafe. They even blocked its transmission via direct message, a tool hitherto reserved for extreme cases like child pornography. According to Taibbi, Twitter granted requests from both the Trump and Biden teams to remove certain tweets, but the practice wasn't balanced because staff leans overwhelmingly left.
What he's showing here is evidence that the Biden campaign colluded with big tech to suppress a story that we now know is 100% true.
President Biden has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing. He had this to say on the topic last month.
I think the American public want us to move on.
Incoming House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer and his fellow Republicans are set to launch investigations as early as next month into whether or not President Biden is tied to his son's business deals. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Well, we sent questions to Maryland lawmakers, Congressman Kwesi Mfume and Andy Harris, as well as Senators Chris Van Hollen and Ben Cardin, asking, how do you plan to use your powers to get to the bottom of this? Do you think there needs to be an investigative hearing into this matter? And are you concerned other social media platforms could have colluded with the Biden campaign? Congressman Harris is the only one to respond in a statement saying this is a clear reason for Congress to investigate further and to remove protections from social media platforms. You can read the congressman's full response on our website, foxbaltimore.com.
Ain't nobody had you right there, nobody.
A frustrated DPW employee sounds the alarm to FOX45. Why this person says fewer collections is letting trash and frustration pile up.
The U.S. and its allies imposing the biggest restrictions on Russian oil yet. I'm Atra Al-Nashar with how this could impact you at the pump.
We are following three big stories right now at 10:30.
Some major global changes this week will have an impact on your wallet. What new restrictions on Russian oil means for you.
Baltimore County Executive Johnny Olszewski is starting his second term in office. An update on a search for a new police chief on Melissa Hyatt's last day leading the department.
Frustration and trash both are piling up for DPW workers who say bi-weekly recycling is taking a toll on their health and home life. That's a story you're seeing first on Fox.
That DPW worker is coming forward, telling Fox 45 News fewer collections are creating twice the work for tired crews.
Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor has a closer look at their concerns.
Yeah, the city continues to claim that bi-weekly recycling is the result of pandemic-related shortages. But according to the DPW worker that I spoke with, he says bi-weekly recycling might actually be the source of some of the city's lack of staff.
If you think fewer pickups means less work for trash collectors, think again.
It's ridiculous.
A waste management worker who asked Fox 45 not identify him says the cutback on collections is creating unrealistic working conditions for city crews.
There's too much work on one person. They put 7, 8 cans out like that. Try to empty the whole house. I mean, it's crazy.
He sent us this photo saying sky-high stacks of trash are becoming the norm for curbs across the city, making an already hazardous job even harder.
If you take the survey in the yard, I bet you wouldn't get nobody to say that they want it to be like that. Nobody. From the drivers to the laborers, nobody.
The argument that returning to weekly recycling would relieve stress on tired crews already pushed at several city council meetings, but DPW officials pushing back.
You do not believe the routes are taking longer because the workers are now picking up 2 weeks worth of recycling instead of 1 week?
No.
Okay, so that's physically impossible.
At a hearing held last month, DPW Director Jason Mitchell saying there's no end in sight for the scaled back services, pointing to a 25% vacancy rate and 700 open positions, a shortage he claims is still being fueled by the pandemic.
It's a challenge hiring throughout the nation. We're no different.
But the waste worker we spoke with says the real reason DPW is struggling with staffing, crews being overworked and underpaid. On recycling days, he claims dozens have even started calling in sick to avoid the 12 to 14-hour shifts.
Just because they don't want to come in that day. It's just terrible.
Shifts he says no one used to skip when the workload was once a week.
Ain't nobody happy right there, nobody.
Now, when asked for a comment, DPW got back to me just before news time, saying that they think that the increased workload has nothing to do with bi-weekly recycling. They think it has to do with these new, larger cans that were rolled out this year. They also tell me that we can expect a report within the next few weeks of a plan for the return to weekly recycling. So hopefully that comes here shortly. Reporting in Baltimore, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
This is just the latest issue to come out of DPW. In October, a Fox 45 News investigation found a major communication breakdown when it came to the September E. coli contamination. The department has also struggled with inaccurate water bills. The state is now overseeing its Back River wastewater treatment plant for the rest of the year. More concerns over mismanagement. Now, these issues exist despite DPW operating with a budget of more than $600 million. DPW Director Jason Mitchell is one of the highest paid city officials. He makes $245,000 a year. Fox 45 News has done extensive reporting on the problems within DPW. You can find all of our stories on our website, foxbaltimore.com.
Making headlines tonight, the public won't be able to see continued court proceedings over the release of a state report into sex abuse inside the Catholic Church of Baltimore. A Baltimore Circuit judge has ordered the case be sealed. Attorneys representing some of the people named in the report are fighting the release. A nearly 4-year state investigation found 158 priests accused of abuse. Most of them are already known. The report also found more than 600 abuse victims.
Police say Hyundai cars are a top target by thieves in Howard County. 3 cars were reported stolen this weekend, including 2 taken from the same block in Laurel. One Friday, the other overnight along Stebbing Way. A silver Hyundai Elantra was stolen from Murray Hill Road in Columbia overnight, Friday into Saturday. See our reporting on the TikTok challenge associated with these thefts on foxbaltimore.com/newslinks. Baltimore County Executive Johnny Olszewski is officially starting his second term, along with other county leaders. They were sworn in today. Well, today also marked Baltimore County Police Chief Melissa Hyatt's last day in office. The county executive is now tasked with finding a new chief.
What's more important for me is making sure that it is exhaustive and that we find the right person to lead the agency in the years ahead. So we don't have a specific timeline in mind. We're going to make sure that the process is thoughtful and thorough.
The county executive says he doesn't have a timeline for getting a new chief for the job. Interim Police Chief Colonel Dennis Dope will take over starting tomorrow.
Anne Arundel County Executive Stuart Pittman was sworn into office today for his second term.
Ladies and gentlemen, the County Executive of Anne Arundel County, Stuart Pittman.
Pittman promising to work not just for the people who voted for him, but everyone in Anne Arundel County. In Howard County, Kevin Ball was sworn into his second term in office tonight. The county also swore in its new council members.
Stocks took a nosedive today amid fears of another round of rate hikes. The Dow shed almost 500 points, the S&P 500 72, and the Nasdaq lost 221 points. Markets are expecting the Fed to reserve to roll out a 50 basis point increase, smaller than the past two hikes, but still high enough. In fact, the Fed says rate hikes will continue, even if by smaller margins.
Well, some relief at the pump for Maryland drivers. According to AAA, the current price of gas in Maryland is just over $3.40 a gallon. That is 30 cents lower than a month ago. The national price of gas is also falling, now at $3.40, same as ours, after being roughly $3.80 a month ago. While gas prices are dropping for the moment, two major developments expected this week could have a massive impact on the cost of energy worldwide. National correspondent Atra El-Nashar explains.
After months of watching horrors unfold in Ukraine, the U.S. and Western allies finally implementing a price cap on Russian oil, intended to stymie how the Kremlin funds its war. The G7, European Union, and Australia agree on a limit of $60 per barrel of Russian crude oil. Gas Buddy's Patrick DeHaan says it's unclear if this will work, since the price cap only prevents EU and G7 tankers from delivering oil above the cap.
Pipelines still can. And so from that aspect, Russia has promised to block exports or simply stop selling to countries that are engaging in the price cap.
At the same time, a Russian oil embargo taking effect in the EU Monday, prohibiting those imports by sea. Complicating matters, OPEC Plus announcing it will extend production cuts. The direction of demand, impacted by cold weather and Chinese lockdowns, could determine whether the West's plan works.
This certainly could backfire on either the EU or Russia. This is a very high-stakes game that Europe needs oil and Russia needs the revenue.
Nowhere are the stakes higher than in Ukraine, where President Volodymyr Zelensky calls the price cap a weak position,
which is quite comfortable for the budget of a terrorist state.
If Europe turns to the U.S. for supply, Americans could see gas prices rise. Production here at home still a source of tension between oil companies and the White House.
We know that this administration has completely slowed down the permitting process on both federal lands and federal waters.
DeHaan says there are limits to that argument.
They're producing more than they have in the last couple of years.
As U.S. gas prices continue to drop, with at least a dozen states averaging below $3 a gallon, according to Gas Buddy, it'll likely take weeks to know how much American drivers are insulated from these new policies. In the Capitol Hill Bureau, I'm Atra El-Nashar, Fox 45 News.
The Taylor Swift fans are suing the parent company of Ticketmaster after issues buying tickets for her upcoming tour. The class action lawsuit accuses Live Nation Entertainment of fraud and violating several antitrust rules, among others. Millions of verified users joined the pre-sale event to buy tickets for Swift's upcoming tour. But according to those suing, Ticketmaster let bots and unverified users flood the pre-sale event when reps knew it could not meet demand. Ticketmaster had previously apologized to fans and the singer.
Well, Friday's Twitter file drop is raising new questions about big tech and free speech, what has experts and lawmakers concerned. As respiratory illnesses rise among children, the federal government is now stepping in. What the Biden administration is telling states.
And after a good-looking Monday, not as pretty for Tuesday, but a little bit warmer with highs near 50. I'm going to let you know when things could cool down, maybe cold enough for snow. That's all up in my Weather Authority forecast. All right, here we go. The next weather maker beginning to move in. You see some of that rain around Knoxville and Charlotte, even a little bit of pink over the highest elevations of the southern Appalachians, maybe some icing going on there. But overall, that will not be an issue with this one as it moves our way. But there will be some potentially impacted travel for tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon with rain. 34 right now. It's clear. It is cold. Winds are calm, our humidity at 79%. Thing is, clouds are going to increase later on tonight, and although it looks threatening here temperature-wise, these temperatures are going to buoy back up late night tonight into tomorrow morning, probably up near 40 degrees as any of those showers begin to move in. You can actually see what I'm talking about. This is where the clouds and the showers are around Roanoke to Charleston, Columbus, and Cleveland. That's where temperatures are in the low to mid 40s. So as the clouds increase, our temperatures will continue to kind of turn around and go the other way late night as the drier air moves away and the latest weather maker moves in. You see this cold front here right around Chicago and also St. Louis, this big blue line. What this is doing is pushing up all kinds of warmth and moisture ahead of it. Now, the front itself never really going to get here. That's going to kind of fall apart, but we're going to buckle the moisture ahead of that up toward us on into tomorrow. So on and off rain develops late night tonight, but especially during the morning commute tomorrow. I think that's when it begins. And you'll see here on the future scan by about 7:45 a.m. there are some sprinkles and showers. Temperatures again buoying back up into the upper 30s and low 40s. And then on and off showers during the day tomorrow all the way through about 4 or 5 o'clock. and on into early Wednesday, potentially some rain as well. Now, during the day on Wednesday, I think we're a milder day with highs back in the 60s, but there could be a couple of scattered showers during the morning and midday before those push out, and maybe some more rounds come in as we head towards the end of the week. And then things could get interesting. 37 degrees, becoming cloudy with a late shower tonight. Tomorrow, on and off rain, moist but seasonable, so morning and afternoon commute could be messy. Now, we fast forward things. We're going to have a couple more systems coming through. The one that we're concerned about is as we head into Friday night, Saturday morning. Take a look at our GFS future scan computer model versus European computer model. The GFS doesn't give us any of the cold air. Look at all the snow in the blue. It's way north. That's on and off rain Saturday and into Sunday. The colder air bulges south into the storm system, though, for the Europeans' depiction of what's going to happen. And this is one to watch a little more closely, as that says there could be at least a minor accumulation of snow here Friday night into Saturday. So again, it's something to watch here, but needless to say, unsettled the next several days. Lowest chance of rain Wednesday, Thursday with highs in the 60s there, and closely watching Saturday. And of course, with the system moving in, we've got a brand new weather article that we put together. Expert analysis here of exactly what we can expect from the different computer model runs and which is looking like the most snow around here. And by the way, that's me and my kids in a snow fort several years ago. That's not what we expect on Saturday.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, as we prepare for some winter weather, here are a few reminders to stay safe on the road when the snow does fall. AAA recommends driving slowly, of course, because you won't have as much traction when driving on snow or ice. Increase your following distance to at least 5 or 6 seconds. It'll give you plenty of space if you need to stop suddenly. Be careful when trying to drive up a snow-covered hill. You should avoid trying to go up a snowy hill if you can. If you can't, avoid it. AAA recommends picking up your speed before you reach the hill, and don't stop on the hill. You'll slide back down. Well, Friday's Twitter file drop is raising some new questions about big tech and free speech. The National Desk's Ryan Smith reports.
New Twitter owner Elon Musk speaking out over the weekend, criticizing media coverage or lack thereof, and accusing mainstream media of being deceptive in covering the story.
To be accepting some responsibility themselves for not being truthful to the American public.
Critics of Twitter's suppression and the subsequent media blackout of the Hunter Biden story 2 years ago now saying there's a new blackout in the wake of this weekend's revelations.
And you can see the networks with some having absolutely no coverage at all, and then a matter of just minutes on other networks.
You have these censorship apologists who are bordering on propagandists.
Now, questions continue to be raised about the 51 former intelligence officials who signed this letter in October 2020, just 2 weeks before the election, suggesting the New York Post's story had the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation, and the Post later labeling them as spies who lied. Republicans are already saying Twitter will be an issue they take on in the next session of Congress. Current House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy tweeting, come January, the new House Republican majority will get answers for the American people and the accountability they deserve.
Now we need to start looking at Facebook, at Google. These now have become arms of the Democratic Party, arms of the Biden administration.
Those on the right point to Apple removing conservative social media site Parler from its App Store after Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez complained ahead of Joe Biden's inauguration last year.
We're all keeping a close eye on this.
And accused the White House of trying to intimidate Musk as he reworks Twitter to allow more voices. Many Democrats say the Twitter files are a non-issue and that the GOP focus on them shows them to be out of touch. Musk saying more internal emails will come out, but has not set a date for that release. I'm Ryan Smith reporting.
Ahead on the late edition Inauguration Day for county leaders across the state. The new face in Harford County just ahead. The man who shot Lady Gaga's dog walker and was part of a dog napping plot admits guilt. The story gripped the nation. Ahead, the plea deal and the motive revealed. A health alert now as children suffer from a surge in respiratory illnesses across the nation. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is calling on the federal government to step in and help. Well, now in a letter obtained by CNN, the U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary tells governors around the nation that the Biden administration is ready to help with resources, supplies, and personnel.
I've known people whose babies, only a few months old, are spending more than a week in the hospital because the babies are suffering from collapsed lungs and needed oxygen assistance to breathe. Their parents keep vigil next to the hospital bed. They don't go to sleep because they're worried their child will stop breathing and they'll miss it.
The surge in illnesses come as pain medicines like children's acetaminophen and ibuprofen are in short supply. Johnson & Johnson says they're running production sites 24/7 to try to keep up with demand. Well, Pfizer and its partner are seeking FDA approval for their updated COVID-19 vaccine to be used in children under the age of 5. Children between 6 months and 4 years old are already cleared to get 3 extra small doses of the original Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine as their primary vaccine series. If the FDA approves, a dose of Pfizer's updated bivalent vaccine would be substituted for their 3rd dose. It comes as respiratory illnesses among children are spiking, of course, and overwhelming hospitals across the U.S. Well, ahead on the late edition, the City Council meets for the first time since the pension bill was vetoed. We pressed the City Council president for answers, why he's pointing the finger at the media ahead. An inspirational story coming out of the mayor's Christmas parade, how a drummer isn't letting his disability stop him from making music. A drummer in this year's Christmas parade in Hamden is proving you can do anything you set your mind to. Photojournalist Drew Fox shows us how he's beating the odds to fulfill his passion.
Today is the 49th annual Mayor's Christmas Parade.
I guess just the sound. I started playing drums when I was 2 years old. It was one of my favorite things to do as a drummer, just learning different chops.
He's phenomenal. When you see him, you'll understand exactly what I mean.
Yeah, he sounds great.
I lost my vision when I was 6 years old to cancer. I had bilateral retinoblastoma. When I first lost my vision, I was still trying to see, if that makes sense.
I don't know too many people that can play that are sighted that can play the drum the way he plays it.
This is Santa Claus. As me being blind, I was just like, I have to work twice as hard as everyone else to find a different way of doing it. I view it as an opportunity. There's always an opportunity to prove yourself.
His work ethic with the drums he wants to do it. He does not want to not do it.
It was just waking up every day, being depressed. Oh, I can't do it. I never could do it. After I told myself I can't, I was like, I'm going to make my list of I can longer than my list of I can. Every challenge that I had, I just faced it head on. I feel as though a lot of disabled people have secret talents that no one ever really, sits down to try to notice. We just want to be treated just like everyone else. That's all I really can ask for all the disabled people. Just give us a chance to try.
Incredible, Shadon. What a fine young man you are. You are so talented. Thank you for sharing your talent with us. We want to see how you're celebrating the holiday season. You can send your pictures and videos to our website, foxbaltimore.com/chime-in, or use your Fox 45 mobile app. Just click the Explore tab, then chime in.
That it was a ballot question overwhelmingly supported by more than 70% of the public. Why not mention that part?
Well, tonight on the Late Edition, pushing for answers from the City Council president, whose pension bill was vetoed. His response and the future of that bill.
Those are two generations that are gone.
A pregnant 19-year-old was murdered this weekend. The search for a killer as a pastor speaks with Fox 45, pleading for an end to the violence. And still ahead, one final trip around the moon. The incredible view of Earth as the Orion spacecraft makes its return trip.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News Late Edition.
The Baltimore City Council met for the first time since Mayor Brandon Scott vetoed a controversial pension bill. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Kai Jackson. The bill was a response to voters approving term limits. Keith Daniels reports the bill is dead, and the City Council president responds to questions of a divide inside City Hall.
Well, for the most part, it seems that controversial pension bill is done, but of course, that depends on the next move by the City Council president, and tonight, we're pressing him for answers.
Mr. Clerk, if you could please read the roll.
At Baltimore City Hall, the City Council's first meeting since Mayor Brandon Scott's veto on the controversial pension bill. The mayor's communication on the agenda, but no lengthy discussion on the matter. But after the meeting, we questioned the bill's sponsor, Council President Nick Mosby, on the mayor's move and whether he'd push for an override vote.
I didn't whip the vote, nor am I going to whip a veto. I think the mayor has spoken. He wants to keep it not balanced. Some council members have spoken that there's a conflict of interest, and we're going to move forward with it.
Mosby sent his response to the veto in a letter to the mayor today with several points, including saying he disagreed with the ethics board's concerns about the legislation. Mosby says reducing the time required for council members to receive a lifetime pension is about equity, given the term limits from Question K. Mosby also continued to point fingers about that charter amendment, once again addressing Fox 45 owners' financial support for Question K. You did not mention that it was a ballot question overwhelmingly supported by more than 70% of the public. Why not mention that part?
No, I said the voters voted for it. I just talked about the amount of money that your news media put into it and the level of coverage.
In the letter, Mosby also draws attention to a seemingly divide in city government, saying to the mayor, quote, "We missed a chance once again to work together to resolve your concerns through the legislative process. Residents are truly tired of the disconnection of city government and officials.
Is there a divide in city government that you're referring to?
There's no divide.
Well, explain what you meant.
It's just a statement. It's pretty straightforward. Like, we would have had a chance to talk before the decision was made. It's the council. It was the mayor's prerogative, so it's fine with me. But there is no discord. There's no concern.
Well, 10 votes are needed for the council to override the veto. The mayor has said the votes don't appear to be there. The council approved the bill by a vote of 8-5, with 2 members abstaining. Reporting tonight, Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
Well, Baltimore City's elected leaders will get a raise on January 1st because of city legislation, which says if at least one city union or employee group receives a pay increase, all elected officials are entitled to a 2.5% increase as well. Now, because the union representing salaried city employees got a raise this summer, salaries will be adjusted. According to the Board of Estimates agenda, the City Council President, Comptroller, and all City Council members are benefiting from a raise. The raise will push Mayor Brandon Scott's salary above $200,000 a year, and council members who are considered part-time earn closer to $80,000. We'd like to know what you think. Do city leaders deserve a raise? It's early, but so far, 100% of those who voted say no. Head to foxbaltimore.com/vote to weigh in. The city's crime crisis continues. 19-year-old Jamira Burrell, who was pregnant, was murdered this weekend. Tonight, her pastor is speaking out, talking with Fox 45's Vincent Hill, who is at Baltimore Police headquarters with the search for a killer.
For some, Jamira was just another number, but one faith leader says she was the start of a future taken away too soon.
Crime is something that the Bible teaches against, right? It is an affront and is a sin.
Robert Turner is the pastor of the Empowerment Temple in Baltimore.
And it's something that we should try to stop, cease, and make sure it and the consequences of it are not passed down to our children.
But crime isn't stopping, and its latest victim, 19-year-old Jamira Burrell, and tragically, her unborn child. Turner says that will have a lasting effect for years to come.
Those are 2 generations that are gone. Not to mention the fact that the mother could have had another child, and the baby, once she grew up, he or she grew up, could have a child. So you lost potentially 3 generations.
Turner says it's up to the community to make sure justice is served for Jamira.
Hey, if we see somebody about to shoot somebody, we need to say something.
And that's exactly what Baltimore Police hopes the public will do.
The sudden, violent death of a 19-year-old pregnant woman, your mind automatically goes to the possibility of intimate partner violence.
Former Baltimore Police Deputy Commissioner Jason Johnson also led an investigation unit.
The police department doesn't have the luxury of focusing only on that. They're going to have to consider other possibilities. Could it be a robbery? Could it be some other random act of violence?
Johnson says the investigation won't be easy, but he believes the person or persons responsible will be caught.
Knocking on doors, trying to talk to people that knew this young lady, family, friends, searching for electronic evidence in terms of communications that she may have had.
Meanwhile, Reverend Turner says he has a theory on what could reduce violence in Baltimore.
Seeing people as God sees them and not as we may sometimes want to see them.
Right now, Baltimore police don't have a suspect or suspects. Homicide investigators are asking anyone with information to call Baltimore police. In Baltimore, Vincent Hill, Fox 45 News.
Well, this is the second time this year a pregnant woman has been shot and killed in Baltimore. In May, a 38-year-old mother was killed in a drive-by shooting in East Baltimore. Another person in the car was also gunned down. At the time, Mayor Scott was emotional talking about this incident.
And to be quite honest and frank, I don't really give a what the conflict was.
An $8,000 reward was offered in this case, and that was doubled by the governor. As of now, there's no word of an arrest in the double murder.
Now, a Fox 45 News alert in 3, 2, 1.
We are following some sad breaking news tonight. Actress Kirstie Alley died from cancer tonight. The star from the hit sitcom Cheers was only recently diagnosed with cancer, according to a family statement. Her daughter shared the news on the actress's social media accounts, writing, quote, "As iconic as she was on screen, she was an even more amazing mother and grandmother." Kirstie Alley was only 71 years old.
Up next, counties under pressure Another rash of Hyundai thefts in Howard County, the potential link to a TikTok trend and a bold move by the thieves. Harford County is under new leadership. The man sworn in to replace Barry Glassman and other county leaders sworn in today.
And our bus stop forecast starting off with rain and ending with rain tomorrow, but there could be some white in our forecast. I'll let you know when the chance of snow could be greatest in my Weather Authority forecast coming up.
All future hearings and the request to have a comprehensive report on sexual abuse by priests in the Archdiocese of Baltimore will happen behind closed doors. Judge Anthony Vittoria sealed arguments over the release of a report detailing the accusations. Attorneys representing people named in the report who were not accused of abuse asked that the proceedings and report be sealed. Even though the church said it would not oppose the release of the report, it is paying the legal fees for those attorneys. It's a new era in Harford County. Former State Senator Bob Casserly was sworn in as the new county executive, replacing Barry Glassman, who ran for state comptroller. Casserly, a fellow Republican, was a staunch supporter of the original Kiana Hawley bill that would have mandated minimum sentences for people convicted of attacking officers. She was a Baltimore police officer killed last year. That bill ultimately stalled when Democrats turned it into a proposed scholarship fund for families of fallen first responders. 3 other executives were reelected to office. Democrats Johnny Olszewski, Calvin Ball of Howard County, and Stuart Pittman in Anne Arundel County, Howard and Anne Arundel counties, respectively. Now, coming up, America's moonshot mission is returning to Earth, but not before capturing a spectacular Earthrise image that we'll share with you.
Agents at the U.S.-Mexico border already stretched thin. I'm Christine Frizzell with new warnings their workload could soon double.
New warnings about a dire situation along the border with Mexico. A COVID health policy allowing border agents to deport migrants before they can seek asylum is set to expire in 2 weeks. National correspondent Christine Frizzell reports on the expected surge.
In El Paso, Texas, new signs have now been erected, warning people to keep an eye out for unexpected pedestrians after a 12-year-old girl from Mexico was struck and killed. Along the southern border, more staggering numbers for the month of October. More than 230,000 migrant encounters. Compare that to 164,000 the year before and just under 72,000 the year before that. The chief of Customs and Border Protection in Rio Grande Valley tweeting Friday agents seized the largest amount of liquid fentanyl in U.S. history. 25 pounds, enough to kill more than double the population of Houston.
There's no downside to securing our border. I mean, if you secure our border, less criminals are coming across, which means less murders, rapists, pedophiles, and gang members, fewer national security threats.
With Title 42 set to expire following a court ruling and the Biden administration's own action to have it lifted, no plans have been made public for how to deal with the influx of thousands more expected. Other than the White House sending federal air marshals on mandatory deployments to the southern border. The Federal Air Marshal Council in a letter asking for marshals to stop being deployed to help at the border after at least 2 threatening incidents last month with no air marshals on board.
A level 4 threat, which means someone tried to breach a cockpit 2 days ago on a Southwest flight. So the message is, sir, please replace the air marshals on the border.
Now some Republicans on Capitol Hill are threatening to vote against a bill to keep the government open if changes at the border aren't made immediately. They made the threat in a letter, also asking for border wall construction to be resumed and for President Biden to rescind executive orders which dismantled the Remain in Mexico policy. The year's end bringing no end in sight to the growing challenges at the southern border. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
And here's a look at today's top trending stories. Number 1, Hyundais remain a top target by thieves in Howard County. 3 of them were reported stolen this weekend, including 2 taken from the same block in Laurel. One Friday, the other before you woke up early today. Both were black 2019 Sonatas parked along Stebbing Way. A silver Hyundai Elantra was stolen from Murray Hill Road in Columbia overnight, Friday into Saturday. You can see our reporting on the TikTok challenge associated with a spike in thefts on foxbaltimore.com/newslinks. A Democrat-led push to give more teenagers the right to vote is gaining steam in some regions. Boston City Council voted 9-4 last week to allow 16 and 17-year-olds to vote in local elections. The mayor and state legislature have to sign off on that. If approved, Boston will join municipalities in other states, including here in Maryland, Tacoma Park, which allows everyone 16 years of age and older to participate in their local elections. Minors still can't vote for state or county level positions. Number 3, NASA's Orion space capsule that could one day bring people back to the moon made one more close pass. Take a look at this image. Look at that. Is that cool or what? In the image in the foreground is the moon itself. That crescent you see in back, guess what? That's actually planet Earth, right? Roles of reverse right here. The spacecraft will splash down in the Pacific near San Diego on Sunday. Astronauts could be a part of a mission as soon as 2024, but a lunar landing expedition, well, that probably wouldn't happen until 2025. Still pretty cool to see, Jonathan.
Yeah, super neat there. And around here, we could have some super neat, interesting stuff going on by the weekend. Well, it depends if you're a snow lover or not, but we're going to get into that in a couple of minutes. HD radar showing us a pretty quiet shot for now, although there's a bunch of rain and snow up toward northern Michigan. And then as you head into southern Canada, portion of the weather maker that's going to be coming our way is down to the south around Charlotte and Atlanta, building northbound. Could have some showers late night tonight. Right now we're at 30. Boy, an evening drop off with the calm winds and the clear skies. Things are getting frosty quick and seems a little worrisome with all that moisture to the south. But the good news is when clouds come in, usually begins to warm your temperatures. And as winds start switching south and east, temperatures late night will start coming up through the mid to upper 30s to near 40. And those clear skies on the Toyota Eastern Harbor Skycam, they're going to go away. 37 right now here at Westminster, 30 at Columbia, 30 here in Baltimore. We're at 33 at Cockeysville. and at Bel Air, 29 at Elkton, and 37 at Annapolis till the clouds come in. Notice where the clouds are. Temperatures are in the 40s to right around 50 degrees around Charleston as well as Columbus. That's where this next weather maker is, and that dry, chilly air that we've been kind of, I guess, enjoying today with highs at 50 degrees. Well, that's going to give way to rain and milder temperatures, at least milder temperatures. That's the good part. The rain, maybe not so much, but that's as this next system moves in from the west. Notice this big blue line. That's a cold front. That is going to diminish as it gets closer, but what will not is the moisture plume, if you will, ahead of it. Notice it kind of buckling northbound. And we're going to be in that on and off all the way through the remainder of the work week. So hope you enjoyed the nice, dry, quiet day that we had today. Not going to be the case into tomorrow morning. Notice the temperatures kind of popping back up by about 7:45 a.m. into the mid to upper 30s and 40s. So it should be above freezing as anything moves in. But we could have some wet roads that you're dealing with, and then on and off wetness through the day tomorrow. High temperatures getting likely into the low 50s, on and off rain again tomorrow night, and maybe even into Wednesday morning. Some scattered showers and a high on Wednesday could be threatening about 60 degrees. So the forecast for tonight, I think late night we work it back up to about 35 to 40, becoming cloudy. Could see a late shower here or there. Again, it should be rain, 52, moist but seasonable for tomorrow with on and off showers. 7-day forecast. Look at that, 60 with some morning showers on Wednesday. Thursday, we go to 63 with a stray shower. That's a mainly dry day, I think. Another system moving in on Friday, 52. And depending on which computer model you believe, and I'm going with the GFS computer model, the warmer, wetter solution could be wet on Saturday into Sunday. But if you take a look at what's going on here, our GFS versus European computer model, both of these very reliable. The GFS has had some additions put into it that have made it a little better the past few years. The GFS goes with the warmer solution. The colder air stays north. No snow, rain Saturday, shower Sunday. Whereas look at what happens here on the European. The blue, that's a snow. That could be some snow Friday night into Saturday morning. So lots to watch here. Could even have a little bit of accumulation if that solution works out. And of course, we've got a brand new weather article all about this. That's on our website, foxbaltimore.com. We're breaking down all the model solutions as they come in. And we're going to keep updating this story through the next several days.
The man who shot Lady Gaga's dog is sentenced after the French bulldog heist. How long he'll spend behind bars as police search for a motive. New developments today. Police say the man who shot Lady Gaga's dog and walker and stole her French bulldogs will spend 21 years in prison. James Howard Jackson pled no contest to attempted murder as part of a plea deal. Police say Jackson shot the dog Walker in February of 2021 and stole a pair of dogs. Now, they will later return. Jackson is one of 5 suspects charged. Officials say the connection to the pop star is purely coincidental and that it was the breed French bulldog that the thieves were actually interested in. New research from the National Institutes of Health shows a therapy given at your doctor's office shows promise in treating pain. Medical reporter Liz Bonus explains how it works.
Hey there, everybody. In the continued push to reduce the needs for prescription painkillers to lower the risk of addiction, the NIH lending its support now for this new therapy that treats pain right where it hurts.
Anytime I lift anything, I'm having a lot of pain.
Kelly Winstrup needed this therapy today for a real pain in the elbow.
It goes all the way down my arm, to my wrist.
Turns out she has a common problem Dr. Trevor Stefanski confirmed with an X-ray.
So that's generally known as tennis elbow. It's also known as lateral epicondylitis.
Physical therapy is always his first choice to treat it, so Kelly can get back to the range of motion she does not have now.
When we start getting tears in that area or degenerative changes in that area, it can make it painful with wrist extension and gripping.
But to help Kelly be able to do that therapy, he also gave her an injection of a combo of medication that really works, according to a new study just released by the National Institutes of Health.
It's a mixture between a short-acting and long-acting local anesthetic and a corticosteroid, which is similar to the anti-inflammatory hormones that your body makes.
The study found the calming effect of the local anesthetic can provide safe, immediate pain relief and help put Kelly back on the path to long-term healing.
The idea is if we can get it to heal back down or at least get back to a baseline, then it may not flare up again, so it should keep it at bay.
As for Kelly's eventual goal,
I would like to go bowling again.
We hope she can go bowling again, too. Dr. Stefanski says it is possible. As the injection fights the pain, she can build up the muscles and grip around it. I'm medical reporter Liz Bonus. Now back to you.
Well, coming up in Sports Unlimited, head coach John Harbaugh shares how long Lamar Jackson could be out and why he's confident in the backup. All right, Ravens fans, the news could be a lot worse. It could also have been a little bit better. Lamar Jackson will be evaluated on a week-to-week basis. He left yesterday's win over the Broncos after suffering a big hit. When he started to scramble in the first quarter, he was brought down hard directly on his left knee. Bottom line, Coach Harbaugh says his star QB isn't expected to be ready for the Steelers Sunday.
He's been through the MRIs, and I would say it's kind of week to week. You know, it's going to be a weekly thing. So as the week goes on, we'll see for this week. It's probably less likely for this week, but it's not impossible. And then after that, it'll become more and more likely.
He is the likely starter, similar to when Jackson was hurt last year. And the team has confidence that Huntley's skill set is similar to Lamar Jackson's.
You know, he's a player that's got a lot of dynamics to his game, and he can throw, he can run, he operates really well. Our players have a lot of confidence in him, you know.
Well, our Sports Unlimited crew tackles the troubles facing the Ravens offense and what it means to lose Lamar Jackson for any period of time in this week's Flock on Fox 45 podcast. Here's a preview.
This team has some serious issues going forward, but for now it's Tyler Huntley's time to shine, and it's really unfortunate to see Lamar leave the field injured.
It is the biggest heart-stopping moment when you see your starting quarterback go down.
Yes, a win is a win is a win, except for when the win takes out your franchise. And right now, until he's not out, he's out.
Well, you can listen to the podcast on foxbaltimore.com/flock on Fox 45, where you can subscribe and set alerts on major podcast platforms. One last note, the Ravens' Week 15 matchup has been flexed to Saturday, December 17th. Well, the Maryland men's basketball team is off to their hottest start in a while. After Friday night's nail-biter against then number 16 Illinois, the 8-0 Terps are now ranked number 13 in the Associated Press poll, jumping 9 spots from last week. The Terps have 2 big tests this week, tomorrow Wisconsin, then Sunday in Brooklyn against number 7 Tennessee. And some hot stove O's Birds right now. The Birds confirmed the signing of right-handed pitcher Kyle Gibson to a 1-year deal. He is a member of the National League champion Philadelphia Phillies this past year. Meanwhile, his new boss, manager Brandon Hyde, just took home another honor. Baseball America named the Orioles skipper Major League Baseball's Manager of the Year. He led the Birds to the biggest single-season turnaround in over 100 years. Well, that'll do us for us tonight. I'm Kai Jackson. Thank you for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.